And we're back for another and the final review of season 2 of Andor, episodes 10 through 12. The whole gang's here, full house. Lauren made me so much smarter last week. We was like, hey, you gotta come back. So Lauren, she's back. Jen, our regular, she's part of the crew now. So Jen's here. Somebody finally decided to show up.
Hey, don't do me like that.
Here.
Hey, people, y'all don't let him do me like that.
Hey, hey, welcome to the party, pal.
Okay, Bruce.
But this is it. This was the last 3 episodes, the last part of Andor season 2. And what we'll do, we'll go through episodes one by one, sort of give our takes, overall feelings about it, and then sort of not critique it, but sort of deep dive into a few parts here and there. So, everybody ready? How we feeling?
Let's get
feeling okay? Feeling good?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So, episode 10, Make It Stop. So, this is after Mon's fiery speech and everything that she did before. Let me move that out of the way. It's 1 year later. We find Luthen and Kleya sort of overstaying their welcome and sort of overplaying their hand, hiding in plain sight on Coruscant. We also, Lonnie's sort of final intel.
Get him out of there.
The shocking realization that the Emperor's energy program was a cover story for a weapon of mass destruction known as the Death Star. The rebel agents must face reality, and it's time to burn it all down. Lonnie ate a blaster for that, unfortunately. But even after Lonnie has spoken about that, we run into Dedra and her sort of entourage, who have found a sort of vacant storefront when they came knocking. While a charming smile, sort of reminiscent of the first time that Luthen dons his wig, he greets her at the door, and then all sort of hell breaks loose after that, because the Starpath unit, the very piece of salvage material that Cassian sold to Luthen before sort of reluctantly joining the cause, is a nice touch by on Dedra's part. But Luthen is not desperate for escape, as he's always said going in. Well, he said going in, sort of have an escape plan or have a way out. So with the ceremonial blade plunged in his chest, he makes a choice to sacrifice himself rather than give the Empire a prisoner who knows too much. And Luthen buys precious seconds for the destruction of Kleya's audio equipment to eliminate the real evidence that could snuff out the rebellion before it even began. And then we get to the safe house again, where we've seen Cassian and pretty much everybody this season sort of visit there. She prepares for battle. Kleya prepares for battle. And we see the story of Kleya and Luthen's first meeting sort of unfold. It's sort of an elegant story, means exploring their bond, sometimes akin to father and daughter, and the past and present colliding as we see young Kleya learning what it really means to fight the Empire and the destruction that it will bring from innocent bystanders as well as those who choose to fight. Kleya may have been Luthen's first pupil, the first rebel spy. He trained in the art of blending in, as seen on Naboo when the pair avoid being caught setting off explosive. In Coruscant Hospital, where Luthen will sort of meet will meet his end, Kleya blends in seamlessly as a staff member, urgently moving among the hospital floors before making her way to the bedside of Luthen. It's a bittersweet reunion from the outside, even when after seeing so many vignettes from their life together, we cannot say for sure how Kleya and Luthen would describe their bond, but some part of Kleya mourns the man who protected her all those years, even if he and his soldiers were the reason she was orphaned. With a kiss, she sets Luthen free, and we sort of end the episode from there. So, a lot from that episode 10. So we got a really good backstory with Kleya and Luthen. And yeah, so I'm going to, first question out the gate, we're just going to talk about just overall thoughts of the episode. Then we'll dive into little parts here and there. So, Lauren, overall thoughts of this episode: Luthen's death, Lonnie getting blasted. We get a backstory, and then we sort of move on from Luthen after this.
Overall, I think I like this episode. We know Luthen was going to go. Like, that was been a whole thing. He knew, we knew it. It was like when it was going to happen, and then how it was going to happen, right? Because Luthen's one of those, like, is he going to go out in the blaze of glory? Because that, I think, would have added a little extra to it with Luthen. But it was nice to get his backstory because Luthen actually used to be an Imperial in that scene.
Yeah.
Luthen,
wow. Yeah.
For those who don't realize what's happening, who it was too much. And this is not the first time in Star Wars where we've had characters like that in the books or in animation where they were ex-Imperials until there's this one event where the Empire goes too far. And they're like, I can't do this. This here is wrong. It's their awakening. Like Finn in the movie has his awakening. Like, so that was Luthen's awakening, that side, that he was an Imperial. So it's interesting to see kind of where him and Kleya, their relationship formed in the first place, and kind of how she became the first apprentice. Star Wars is always about our apprenticeships, and this is his first apprentice, and one of the best ones. And she did what she was supposed to do, which was eventually is funny because it's like a parallel to Sith philosophy, the rule of two, kill your master. She doesn't want to, but it is the necessary thing. He knows that if I get caught and I don't finish it myself, you have to be the one. You are the failsafe to make sure. And that's the day that she's probably been dreading because he is like a father to her, right? She doesn't want to do it. We see that, but she's willing and is able to actually do it, even though we do see, the emotional toll that takes. I think the episode overall is pretty good. Our boy Lonnie, we knew that.
Matter when we didn't know if the Imperials were going to catch him in the office, or what, but I'm just saying, rest in peace in Lonnie, because he has helped.
MVP.
Without Homeboy, we would not even know about the damn Death Star for us to get to all this stuff. So we got to give Lonnie. Now, we don't know what happened to his family. His family's like, screw them.
I know, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very, so standpoint. I think a lot of what happens in this series overall is showing how the early rebellion, but it's also showing how like Saul would do things versus how Luthen would do things versus how the Bail and Mon would do things. Bail and Mon and them would have tried to get his family out of there. They would have tried to get him out of there.
Yeah.
As we see, Luthen ain't that type of dude.
So, like, Lord, let me ask you this. Put you in the hot seat. What choice you making? You're Luthen. Lonnie's coming over. Hey,
I already know the answer.
Lauren, what you got?
Why are you asking me this? Jen know the answer. So the question is what? I'm Luthen, right?
Yeah, what would you do? Would
What's
you save
your
him and his
suspicion?
family? Would you get him out? Would you blast him? What's the deal?
Well, he already signed that warrant, honey. It's too late.
Ruthless, man. Just ruthless aggression, right?
I mean, like he made the choice. So there's some other background between how this situation plays out, and then we'll see like Moff's situation later. But I'll get to that later. But it's like and that's the thing. Like part of Luthen is like when you're in this, you're doing this for the ultimate sacrifice. Family don't matter, all that stuff. You kind of have to have ultimate detachment, and so for Luthen, that means okay. As soon as you told me this, I can't risk us getting caught. It is too late for that. You signed up to be right. Your family.
Look.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. This is and the craziness about that, I'll give you a little tidbit. This is kind of similar to how Jen Orso and Saul's parting kind of sort of went in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Man, RP Lonnie. Again, a true MVP.
Yeah, I know. We gotta do it for Lonnie because Lonnie
he was not discovered. Like the Empire had no idea that he was a mole.
They were still calling him like by his fake name the whole time. Like, oh, can you believe it? He's killed out there. Somebody shot him.
Yeah, they were genuinely shocked, even the higher ups. And Lord and I, you and I talked about this, I think last night. Like,
one of the things that we both agreed on was that if they would have showed more on how the Empire was scrambling to clean this up and how just people disappeared, which is part of their MO when they're doing damage control. So the fact that we had a moment where we're like, wait, what do you mean he was shot? He was found in a park. Why was he found? Like, and they have no idea why.
No idea. Yeah.
It's just
No
completely
idea.
left field.
Yeah, like he's in the park. He's not in uniform. It's like really confusing because this is a guy who's coming in and doing everything right. And he's, they're conversing with him by the book. There's no reason, for most of them to even suspect. And so, like we were discussing last night, that we really should have had a dedicated Empire episode where it's just about the cleanup, of the mess. Because we all forget about Coruscant is the Emperor lives on Coruscant, and all this is happening.
Yes. Yes.
Jen, your initial thoughts of this episode. How are you feeling after this one?
It's very good. And it's basically similar to Lauren's thoughts. I mean, a lot of the events that we saw, it was just for a while knowing it was just a matter of when it was going to go down. So with chapter 3 last week, after Mon Mothma's speech, that was definitely the moment where the ticker started going off. It's like, okay, so when is it going to happen in the 3 episodes? How is it going to happen? What are the circumstances to what it's going to be when it does happen? And so I wasn't shocked by anything. It was expected, but then I enjoyed the ride and how everything was executed. No pun intended.
Doc, your thoughts. Let's get those thoughts on this episode, man.
Jen and Dion, what's my 2 favorite words?
Well, Jen, take this one.
Huh? Y'all know my 2 favorite words.
I want to hear you say it.
Shun. There was none. Once again, there was none in this episode. But
you got so much last part, though. Man.
However,
you got action last week.
I was not expecting Luthen to be such a caring young man, considering the fact what he came from. I mean, all of a sudden it just hit him. All of a sudden, I mean, you just look at how old he is. He's been killing people for a long time. All of a sudden, he can't stomach it. You know what I'm saying? And then to take in the child, raise the child, train the child. I was really impressed with the story arc because I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see it coming.
I agree.
I haven't read none of the books or anything, Lauren. So I'm just watching this blind. You know what I'm saying? Just going in it like, hey, let me learn something.
So go ahead, Lauren.
Luthen, to put more context for you, is the people Luthen comes from, right? Those are the people that the Empire decided to execute.
Yeah. So
those were his people. So as in like the thing, like he's an Imperial, they're jumping from place to place. This is the very beginnings of the Empire. This is like they're still fighting the Separatist War at this point from the Clone Wars. And then all of a sudden they go to Luthen's village, and that's what he said, make it stop. These are people that he grew up around. Make it stop, make it stop. That's what's going on. It's all of a sudden now it's my people. What did my village do? Like he couldn't grasp that concept. He can't comprehend like what the hell's happening.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that whole story arc with Luthen because I didn't see that coming at all.
Here's a quick question for the panel with Luthen. Any motive? Do you think Luthen had any motives by taking Kleya in? Did he truly love Kleya as a daughter? Jen?
I think at the beginning, no, but then it shows the compassion he has that there's something in him that's not going to leave a child for dead, especially to Lauren's point, what he's seeing being done on his homeworld to his people when there was no reason for it, except for what the Empire does. They just come in, wreck shop, take what they want from the planet and wreck the planet and leave it in shambles. So, which is on brand for the Empire. So it shows that Luthen does have compassion, but then you see how he navigates in the stakes of the game. So it's like when she asked him, so am I your daughter? It's like, when you need to be, we'll figure it out. So I think right. I for my opinion, I think over time, I'm sure their bond grew and that there was love he felt for her to a certain extent, but then it wouldn't surprise me if he never communicated that, because to what Lauren said a moment ago, you know, because of what he was doing, what he was building, what they were starting, he really couldn't have attachments, which is some remnants of the Jedi mindset. Like, he's a good example of what not having attachments is to a certain point in their relationship, because he's able to have the relationship with her, but then if he needs to, he's going to do what he thinks he needs to do with killing this person here, doing this, and then this, and then this, without even flinching.
Lauren, your thoughts? And think Luthen had some other motives, or did he truly love Kleya?
I think he might have had a love for her, but everybody's expendable, and he's trained her to think the same way that everybody's expendable, because you cannot do that type of job if you, in essence, can't compartmentalize people, right? So when you have people who are in the military and they have certain jobs as snipers where you could be given orders to kill whoever in whatever scenario, you have to then come back home to that and then act like a normal human being and interact, or not interact. And most of the time they can't interact. They compartmentalize every single person, because it's hard to be like, hey, this is my job to do this, and I can't interact in the same way. So I think the same thing was for Luthen. Like, he might have had a love for her, but if he needed to get rid of her because she got caught in a scenario, he's willing to do so. But he's also trained her that if you're stuck and it's this, the greater good of what we're doing is more so than, you know, your life. So he's taught her don't have attachments, because out of the whole trio of her and the rest of them, she's the only one who doesn't get into anybody in a relationship.
Yeah, which is why, and I know I'm jumping ahead here, but like in the next episode where she is like arguing with Cassian, no, I'm not going to go. You have the message. You go. She was basically preparing to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
In that moment, she was willing to stay there and basically just let them kill her or kill herself, like what Luthen did for the greater good. That's why we see that debate.
Doc, your thoughts on that one, and I'll hand it back to you for the rest of the way.
No, I think he loved the girl. You can't not love somebody you be with them for that long. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, she grew to be his daughter. You see what I'm saying? I don't care how many, people he done taken out in the game. I don't think he could have done it if it came down to it.
Lonnie, I was gonna say, you don't think Lonnie was a son? Nobody thinks Lonnie was a son.
Not at all. Move your ass to the left, Lonnie. Lonnie was still looking stupid. Move your ass to the right, Lonnie. Lonnie still looking stupid.
No. Lonnie's been in it for a long time. He's been in this thing for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Man, Lonnie been in a long time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like, listen, he loved Kleya. However, the way that his thought process, when he's taught her, right? There's love that, hey, she had the ability to kill him, and she like that. So to understand, like, did he love her? Yeah, I think that actually did develop, but it wasn't that type of normal, healthy love that most of us would see. To clarify.
Right, exactly.
So
but no one loved Lonnie. Damn.
I know, right? I mean, he had a family. I'm sure they loved him. But it doesn't matter.
I thought Lonnie was cool. He's one of the goats, man. I mean, like, he did not get figured out. They weren't even sniffing.
He was so unassuming. Like, they was like, he's okay. Like, but wait, he got shot. What? Couldn't believe it.
They were all so shook. It really didn't make sense to them.
Like, oh.
Yeah, he get mugged? Like, what's that?
Like, what do you mean you found him in a park? He's in a park? Why is
he? I was so perplexed when that was going back and the way they played this department, and then all of a sudden we're in another scene and different. Oh, what? What happened? Who? Like, what?
Like, they were genuinely shocked.
It's like, this is why I'm late, and I'm sorry that I'm late, but sir.
Well, I do have one more question about that this episode. Do we think that that little old alien finally got the treatment they needed.
Hell no.
I hope so. I felt bad for that
alien where like something they wheeling in grandma, grandpa. They're like,
it was entirely too much going on. If they was there for a surgery, didn't happen. If they was there to get a coat put back on, didn't happen. If they was there to get a blood pressure check, didn't happen. Man,
I was like, I don't know if you're a grandma or a grandpa, because someone please put this poor thing back in their room so Kleya they can relax.
Just pushed it into a corner
in the hall.
Kleya just pushed it into a corner. You're just looking in the corner,
kicking their little feet.
I found that hilarious, but I enjoyed this episode too. It finally gave me the backstory that I was looking for with Luthen and Kleya, because I was always wondering, like, okay, what made them sort of join this cause, or what hit Luthen to be like, okay, what I'm doing is not the right thing. This is what I should be doing. So it's cool to see that, and to see how long they have been together for so long was pretty dope, and just her way of getting into that hospital too was just like
man,
smooth. She knew where cameras was, ducked the head down, like she got in there, got out, and they
do the hospital layout. Oh, and there's a thing about the hospital. The name of the hospital is actually named after a High Republic, the last High Republic Chancellor, something Soul.
Ooh, I missed that.
Yeah, that's actually the hospital's named after. So it's a High Republic reference. Yep. So we got our High Republic reference. In the hospital, the great hospital. So that's cool.
Acolyte season 2. We want it.
Yeah, we really do.
Oh my god.
But let's see.
Yeah, but poor alien and homegirl was moving. But here's something that we kind of gloss over in Star Wars is the use of children as soldiers a lot.
Yep.
Because we see it. Because that's what she is. Like there's a lot of that.
Child soldier.
Sure. Yeah. So episode 10 was a great setup for the rest of this sort of finale. We get to episode 11, and episode 11 is called Who Else Knows? So this is also after like with Luthen. Can I just say, like she looks terrified. Okay, like she just and like she'll do anything. And on top of that, she looks like she's been going through a lot this past year with.
That's what happens. That's what you look like when you kill people for no reason. That's what happened to you.
Well, and Cyril. Cyril died too.
She didn't love him. She didn't care about him.
Hey, she told him to turn off the lights, man.
Can we not? No.
No one online asked if we can get the uncut version of that scene.
No, we do not need uncut version. No.
And Lauren had to go and put that in everybody's brain right there, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I didn't say it. She said it to him.
I will have to wash out my eyes with baking soda and vinegar. No.
Listen, last year when we were talking about this was coming out, she's like, I hope they don't put them together. And as soon as Jen said it, here we go.
There they go. Yep. Super couple.
They were a wannabe power couple at the end of this.
No, they're not a wannabe power couple. No, this is what, you just don't do this. Just
turn off the lights.
Ew!
I couldn't help it. It was right there.
Oh my goodness.
So, leading to episode 11, with Luthen and Lonnie's death, the ISB is put on high alert, and Dedra finds herself accused of spying for the rebel cause. Or maybe Director Krennic is just reaching for a swift solution so he can get back to Project Stardust. Everything in our story now hurls us towards Rogue One. You okay?
I'm speaking.
Okay. All right. So a collision course with characters destined for that galactic upheaval. Cassian and the crew sort of are enjoying some downtime on Yavin, and before Wilman's hidden radio pack starts beeping, sorting Morse code, sending the codes out, and without missing a beat, we're back with that ragtag bunch on their way back to Coruscant. It's a risky move in the best of times, and this is not the best of times. Coupled with the Empire's piecing together what's left of the gallery radio, the rebels and the Imperials are soon on a collision course, leading, ironically, to the place where we saw Cassian and Bix sort of make their home together on Coruscant, in the Coruscant safe house. Cassian thinks he's rescuing Luthen. Instead, he finds Kleya, desperate to get Lonnie's intel to the Rebel Alliance on Yavin, and a battalion ready to storm their door. But luckily, our guy K, he disobeys orders. So he doesn't stay in the ship. If not for this sort of pure mechanical muscle, this story may have ended sort of differently. But fighting through the disorienting effects of a stun grenade, Cassian and the crew make their way back to the ship and safely go off to Yavin. So with this one, it's pretty much a rescue mission. There's some pushback from Kleya about going. Jen, overall thoughts on this episode 11, Who Else Knows?
I enjoyed it. I will say that they could have hybrid the first episode and this episode. We could have done we could have probably done this in 7 and not 8, because I think it could have been a little bit more concise for the storytelling. With that said, I don't really have any big issues with it at all, really. Because we get to be with some characters from Rogue One. You know, we have the infamous duo back together. We have Moochie back in the game, Mochi back in the gang with everybody. So it was really good to see him and how they're playing Sabacc together. Then you get to hear Kay go off, and Kay being Kay, with Alan voicing the infamous droid. Great. Yeah, just hearing Alan again, and for me, just remembering some of the stories they were sharing at the panels at Celebration, so it really even made it more emotional for me. But again, it was what I liked about the pacing of this one for me was how it was really just a ticking time bomb. Just like, will they make it? Will they not make it? And we get the last scene from the trailer with Kleya and Cassian, where she says, it's a weapon. This is what they're doing. That was the final scene from the trailer that we got in here. Because I was wondering who she was saying that to, and we got the answer, which was this moment here. So all very good. And what we talked about a moment ago, basically the way Luthen raised her and trained her, she was prepared to stay behind for the good of the mission and sacrifice herself. So that's why you have that back and forth between the two of them. And I actually really like the suspense, because for me personally, I had a moment like, oh my gosh, is she going to make it?
I think that was a thought across the whole episode.
Or are we going to get another body that hits the floor? Oh, my freak. I kind of want her to live. Please let her live. And then she lived, so I was happy. But I enjoyed it. And then we also got other moments with, we get Mom Montha, Bail Organa, a little bit of a Senate gathering. So just really good stuff in here, honestly.
Yeah, Lauren, your thoughts on this episode? Again, a rescue mission against time. And what was your thoughts about this one?
I think pacing wise, they were a bit off. I think some of the stuff could have been kind of cut out because they held beats too long, like scenes too long. It's like, okay, this ain't the time to be doing all this. Like, you can have suspense, but you can't hold it too long. And that's kind of a thing in the show they've done before, where they just held certain suspense beats just too long. Like, okay, you could cut this and just have this much film and screen time, and we could have had this other stuff here that we don't get to explore, and put that and gave it room, to breathe in terms of that. So I think they held certain beats too long. But in terms of how she's trained, the way the plan goes, she's never supposed to live after passing that information.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what she's supposed to do. Like, you're supposed, you die, you make sure I'm good. Your job is to pass the information, and then you go, not live out the game, this type of thing. And
so it's a paradigm shift for her.
Right. Cassian's trying to convince her and like, yo, y'all don't got time for all this now. And she's trying to get him to, because the other issue with Cassian, because he should know better, but the other issue with Cassian is Cassian doesn't want to be the guy.
Right.
He doesn't want to be the hero. So he wants to go and have this argument. It's like, you know damn well where you are, and this has happened. You should not be having this long conversation back and forth trying to convince of anything when you know stuff is going down, which is why there's a whole panic. So for him to be like, oh, no, you know, we can go together. And she's like, no, you are the guy. Like, you have to understand you are the guy.
I'm not the guy. I'm not
like, no, I'm not the guy. I mean, he's like that all the way to Rogue One.
Yeah, like messenger, take the message.
Yeah.
Do this. Like
he's resisting the prophecy.
Yeah,
truly is.
Resisting. We can't have that.
And Doc, what about you? Thoughts about this one? Again, pacing, some suspense here and there.
Go back to your girlfriend one time for the one time.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, go back. Because I'm just saying, do you have the one where he grabbed her face? Man,
no.
Do you ever see the look of terror in somebody's face when you know it's over?
Yeah, I know he's talking about.
When you know it's over?
Those images.
What? That was so good. That was such good acting to me.
Yeah.
Because he was getting on my nerves the entire show. I was like,
yes. Yes. That moment in the interrogation room.
Woo! Great.
The way she reacted to that. Oh,
yeah, the way her reaction. I was like, yeah. She knew it was over with then.
Yeah, I know.
She never experienced that. She thought she was on top. She was running things. She got this on lock.
Well, here's a question: how would you have thought she was a rebel spy? Like anybody? Like,
well, if she didn't pass that information
record
on right then immediately when she found it, yeah, you would think she's a rebel spy. Why wouldn't you think she's a rebel spy?
Well, and then keep in mind when back at the meeting in the first episode when they're talking about Lonnie being found dead, they mention this is not the first time she has been warned for going off instruction or whatever the line is, where she does not follow orders.
She doesn't follow the orders.
So
that's how she almost got blown up when your boy saved her.
Right. So it's another indiscretion of, well, wait, she keeps doing this. So is there another reason why she keeps doing this? Which is why Krennic is so frustrated, because he's like, if I fell prey to a rebel spy and a spy knows about the Death Star because she has been on it for all of these years, like that's in his mind. That's why he's pissed. And, you know, doing Krennic what Krennic does. So yeah, I mean, it's very easy to start having those questions of, wait, she found access? That's interesting. And
didn't report it. You don't leave that part out.
Right. Because that was also part of the conversation. It's like, I should have reported this. I should have reported this. So it also makes her look like a rebel spy.
But here's the thing. Krennic knows she's not a spy.
True.
And Krennic has set her up for things, and her boss on top of her set her up for stuff. And then when you find out later that, oh shit, her boss was in it with Krennic too, because the Death Star situation, that project has been going on for over 20 years. Her boss finds out 10 years into it, and him and Krennic make a deal, and everything is falling apart, right?
Right.
Which is why I'm saying it would have been nice to have like half that other episode be an Empire episode to see all the craziness that winds up happening as a result. Because all of a sudden, like, did you know? Did you hear about this? Like, that's what's going on. And people, as you see it disappearing, they talk about, hey, you're going to get the perp walk to death, because there was a whole big thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff. People in this episode that we didn't see disappeared because, oh, you saw this person and now we can't have anybody know that this was done.
Right. Like all the damage control that they have to do to make sure that the Death Star doesn't get out.
Or this doesn't get back to the Emperor, because here's the other thing we have to look at. After the end of the series, a few days later, it's Rogue One is the Battle of Scarif. It happens like 7 days later, right? Who shows up in Rogue One who can't show up for legal reasons is Grand Moff Tarkin. So why does Tarkin get involved? What activates Tarkin to even go out to Jeddah? Because he wasn't nowhere near there.
Yep, exactly.
This is this confusion and all this stuff going on because the Empress Dan is getting back to him, and all this stuff is what activates Tarkin, who we can't see for legal reasons. For Rogue One.
Yeah, it's all the preset for that, because then it goes back into the conflict, which you see in more of the book between Tarkin and Krennic in the Catalyst book, their confrontation and their friction between each other. You get more context there. But that's what also leads to their headbutting in Rogue One, which then also leads into Vader showing up going, I have to clean all of this up because none of you are doing what the Emperor wants, and I have to get back on track.
Not want to show up and be like,
Vader
hey, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. He
Darth Vader is HR. Y'all do know that, right? He is HR. That's what he does. He cleans up.
Well, first, Krennic went to him. Remember, Krennic went to Mustafar and bothered Vader. It's like, what the hell's going on? And then he's like,
that's true. No, that's true.
Yeah.
He told him, you figure that out. Choked him and like, you figure that out. And then stuff just blown out proportion because it just gets messier. Grand Moff shows up and then Vader's like, screw this. Now I got to really, because Emperor's pissed. I'm pissed. Like, really? And then that's when he finds out about Death Star because he doesn't know about those projects. He doesn't know about Project Stardust.
Right. The Emperor keeps Anakin in the dark on a lot of things, including this project.
He doesn't know about the kyber crystals because even though Vader wasn't enforced on one of those planets when they can't handle things, he shows up and he does Vader. He doesn't know why they're mining what they're mining for and why they're mining. He does not know. He's just there to
keep everybody in line. What? Fire! Get your ass!
But that's a wild thing to think. When you think about Vader, just
or actually
he's coming down on me over here. I gotta come down here.
Like, really?
Up here, man.
And this is old Vader. This is old. This is Vader in his 50s.
Yeah.
All he's trying to do is be in his back tank, and now this man bothering him.
The man is tired. He's just like, I can't enjoy a Snickers anymore, and it's true intent. Just leave me in my tank.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Actually, it seems comfortable in there.
It's the most comfortable he is, actually, out of the suit. That's the most comfortable place he is in that tank.
Yeah.
Well, anything else from this one? This one was pretty straightforward. We saw Jen. What you got?
One interesting detail that I've actually been thinking about is the safe house, where we started with the safe house and where it's ended, just like how it has slowly deteriorated over time. I thought that was a very interesting detail in the writing of, oh, wow. I mean, even looking at the hallway compared to the rest of the building, like it's how different it aged. And just that little piece really captured my attention.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a building in the projects. For those of us who experienced that, where you go in, it's dark, it's not very light, and you're going up, everything's just very dark, and it just brought that memory back for me of stuff never being finished, or no one thinks, or stuff is falling apart, no one's thinking of really fixing it. They might just tape it over. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, and especially to see Kay walk down the hallway and do all the destruction that he did, just walking through people.
I cleared a path.
Hopefully that saved him.
At first, when I didn't look up, I was like, man, I thought that was Smee for a minute. I was like, this my boy SM33. No, that ain't him. That was my guy.
K, man. That's K. I like him. Got nothing on K.
Hey, Smee was tough now. Don't talk about my man Smee now.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, no disrespect to Smee, but if you put those two together, I'm like, I already know who's gonna win.
I think that'd be a good fight, because when your man blacked out and his hands turned red and he had Smee light his ass up. Hey, let's go. Round one, fight.
But I like, and because a few scenes ago when we see K2, the way the animation on the face plays, it looks very innocent and childlike until they activate, and then this thing is scary as hell.
Yep.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Coming through. I love how they turn it like that. We should have had a horror movie with K2 droids. We really should have. That would have been, or a horror scene, like a real hallway dark scene in the running.
Well, we've gotten glimpses of it, like when in Mandalorian, when they were doing the Siege of Mandalore, we saw them there too.
And on what was it, episode 9, when they let them loose on them people and he started
they were
kicking
just
people like
bum
football.
rushing the town, man. Like they were just good grief. And we talked about this last week, Doc. I think my brain, I'll say mine, has been so conditioned from like superhero movies to see somebody like get thrown and die. You know, I'm like, wait a minute. But my first reaction was like, she dead.
Yeah, she out of it. She was out of it. That's a regular human. Yeah, dog. Regular human, bro. Hey, she got kicked by straight metal, dog.
This is Star Wars. This is Star Wars. When you get thrown by a droid, you ain't coming back.
Man, yeah, I think rolled over and it was done with.
It's just been so conditioned, like they just slide right out of that, you know, and
the sound,
get up, run off.
She slid, but her head turned over. And it was
from that episode. She's like, oh my god,
that was definitely the horror scene from that part.
That was that horror episode with them K droids, because they was not when he kicked that beam out the way. I was like, oh, okay, that's what they was there for. When they were sitting in that office, just sitting there.
When sees them.
But hold on, now I do have something to say about these droids. How are they so easily redirected? Anybody can just do, and then all of a sudden they're nice again. How is that?
I mean,
they can be reprogrammed so easily. That's a flaw against the Empire. I'm just saying.
Wait. So let's say these things just figure out, humans can't mess with us, and they just decide to take over. See, this is Skynet. See, this is how Skynet.
I think they did.
People like you.
Out.
People like
you
think. No.
You're not gonna. They can't be reprogrammed. You're not gonna reprogram grenade. No, sir.
Don't be able to reprogram them.
No, sir.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, man. Just a question, just an observation.
Okay. So, anything else from that? Let's see what we have. So the Alliance is clearly unhappy with Luthen, though not as much as with Saw. Obviously, Saw got a lot of hate coming.
I told you he was crazy. Well, I've told Jim for many years before.
I never doubted his craziness. I
was like, I don't understand how crazy this fool is, but we're about to see.
Is it actually because they're worried his risky activities at the heart of Empire will connect him to them at Yavin? So all the stuff he's doing, it's a little bit. We'll get into it with the next episode too. But if you want to answer now, Saw's out here going rogue. Literally, and
he's been rogue.
Rogue. Because his ass out there drinking that star juice. That's why. Yeah,
breathe it in, man.
Let it get all in your skin. Yeah,
breathe it in.
Sister.
Oh,
hey, sister. What if he's the smartest one out of all of us? Just think about that for a second.
Who?
How?
Saw Gerrera?
How?
Maybe there's something. You know,
like you said, you over here, and Saul is over here.
His sister, Dion.
That man out of there, bro.
And he radicalized the youngster with the special juice, going, "Breathe in, my sister."
Yeah, breathe in, my sister.
He already telling you, hey, when you hit it, it burns your internal side.
Yeah, everything. And he been sipping on the juice for years.
This is when you were born to do Phoenix.
Why he's in the metal thing now. He's in his new home because he can't breathe by himself with the.
Yeah, he messed himself. He messed himself up so bad.
I don't know. Okay, here's a wild question. I'm sure it's no's across the board. Would anyone from the panel have joined Saw in this rebellion?
No,
not his.
No,
not his.
Seems like he tells fantastic stories.
Man, like, Saw look like he eat members raw. You understand me? I can't hang with Saw.
Can I say something for the record? This question is coming from the man who doesn't think Gaston is a villain.
Right. Like I said, man, your boy Saw Gerrera look like he'll run out and bite a dinosaur. I'm not riding.
You mean to tell me the way he? You mean to tell me the way he talks, the way he hooks you in? You'd be like, man, let me take this off.
It's a no for me.
Okay.
It's a no. I don't want to breathe in the star juice. He can keep that.
Where's Emily?
Saul raised Saul is the one who raised Jen Erso.
Yeah.
Galen Erso's daughter, and turned her into a no-limit damn soldier who was planning terrorist attacks.
At 12 years old.
And carrying them out.
Another child soldier.
Jen Erso is already getting a body count at 12 years old because of Saul.
Yeah. And even when he abandoned her, she's in and out in prison because she's out there doing
she's still doing it.
Killing people. And still doing it.
Made her drink the star juice.
All right,
I
I'm sorry, but he came through.
I just feel like
hey, Lenny.
Tell a lot of good stories, man. I had to go visit.
And get stuck like you want and get stuck there.
Alone. You need supervision. You will need supervision.
I gotta go visit.
I'm gonna hang out with Saul. Didn't you see him shoot the guy in the other episode? He didn't even do nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Dion don't be paying attention, dude.
He was a rebel. He wasn't a rebel. He was part. He was a spy too, right?
Was he?
No.
Unless they planted that thing on him.
Wait.
He did that to make your boy stay and finish stealing the juice.
It was part of the radicalization.
Yeah.
I guess I must be drinking the juice, man, because I believed him.
Yeah,
I believed him.
You hanging out with Saul Guerrera's sister?
I was like, Saul, way to take him out.
Look at
Anyway, episode 12.
There's a whole group of people who left him. Because he was crazy.
They were like, Saul, you cray. Bye.
with this next episode, so everything has been leading to this moment. The first time Mon Mothma, Organa, and the rest of the leaders come together, and they must grapple with the idea of the Death Star. The Cassian's news, the intel that cost Luthen his life, is met with a lot of doubt and just a lot of doubt overall. This is a side of rebellion we have not often glimpsed. Fearful and hesitant, stuck in their old ways of protocol and diplomacy when they are at the cusp of an all-out war. There is no time to waste when the Empire has been secretly building a super weapon for decades. But Cassian, a rebel with complicated relationship with the cause and Luthen himself, rises to the challenge. He asks, does anyone in this room besides Senator Mothma have any idea how much you owe Luthen?
Anybody. Raise your hand.
I don't know if what he was told is true or not, but it's insulting to hear him run down by people who have given a fraction of his sacrifice to the rebellion. Cassian sort of knows about sacrifice. He's lost his family, his home, his love, yet continues to fight for a sunrise he will not live to see. And as he's led out, having shaken the diplomats by speaking truth to power, their next steps come into focus. We know what awaits him. And after the credits roll, we go right into Rogue One, sort of with a deeper understanding of all that sort of came before it. But it's not such a dim ending, because hope is far from lost as the final scenes of Andor play out. We see our guy, I can't pronounce his name, Partagas. Was that Major? The one who popped himself. The
older gentleman.
He takes his way out.
Yeah.
He takes the easy way out, which is wild to see. We also see Dedra, she finds herself confined in a stark white prison reminiscent of Narkina 2. And Bail makes a chilling observation. He was like, if I die fighting the Empire, I want to go down swinging. Yep. And while Yavin 4 drives toward the button-up Rebel Alliance we saw in Star Wars New Hope, and Cassian departs, edging closer to his fate on Scarif, hope springs eternal in a field where the next generation remains safely hidden away. So that ends our pretty much season 2 of Andor, leading right into Rogue One. Doc, thoughts on this episode and sort of like the lead in to what we know now?
Man, let me tell you something. I actually wanted to start watching that movie before I got on here.
Emily did. Like as soon as she watched it today, I come home from work and Rogue One's on. Yeah, so she just went straight into it.
So they to put it real short and sweet, they wrapped it up in a nice little bow for your boy. I appreciate that because I didn't know where they was gonna lead it. I didn't know how they was gonna get there to the beginning of Rogue One. So I mean, I enjoyed it. And then did y'all know? I mean, Jen and Lauren, did y'all know Cassian had a baby?
So I did not see that coming. And I started crying, and I grabbed both of my chanclas and walked around my apartment with the chanclas in my hand because I had so many emotions, because I wanted to throw it at Bix, but then I can't throw it at Bix because I can't be mad even though I'm mad. But then I'm like, but then I could throw it at Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy because it's authorial intent. I'm just mad because now that I know what's coming in Rogue One and remembering what she said in the message, I'm like, what the frick?
So,
you weren't the only one. Emily's Cookie version out. Seeing Cassian's kid just broke my heart.
Exactly. He'll never know he's a dad. He'll never know he's a father.
Yeah. And then he got that ride or die spirit now, and he ain't gonna never know. I don't know.
But I'm sure there'll be. I mean, she'll tell stories. They'll know the risk he took, the sacrifices he made. Right? The kid will know.
Vale will come because there's in order to sell the emotional things that happen. Because I had an issue with the writing there was that you have to believe certain things about their relationship and certain things they say, which might have been a little bit of a screw up on the writing side, but you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, it doesn't work as well, right? Because it's a year between that she's gone, right? And so the issue that happens is when Vale, when they're back at the camp and everyone's having this long mass montage about our homeboy, right? Everyone's giving their perspective for 35 minutes of the episode. She goes to him and she said, "Oh, Bix," and then you realize that he kind of knows that she's out there. She's safe and possibly where she is, but Vale does know and probably has talked to her and knows that there's a baby, which is why she was pushing him to no, you need to kind of talk to each other. No, you really should.
It's like, no, you really need to talk to her.
Yeah, she knows.
But considering what we know moving forward, it's probably a good thing she didn't, because he would not have committed.
He would have not done it. Rogue One wouldn't happen.
He would have been right there. He would have left.
We would not have Rogue One.
There.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Rogue One.
We would not we would not have Rogue One if he would have found out.
Unless that's Kleya's story, you tag in Kleya to send the message out or continue this, but
you gotta pull my girl Kleya up, dog. You got her.
Here's the thing, man. Okay, just tell me. Man,
why you don't know how to pick the Because now she out here lost in this world, man. She don't know what to do. She was supposed to die. Now what she's supposed
to die. That's right. She has no purpose.
She has
no spark.
She had a complete paradigm shift, because that's why she's walking around the camp in the rain. She doesn't know what to do with herself.
Freezing to death. She don't even know she cold.
Vel found her. She's like, no, come on, come with me. Come with me.
Well, when your whole life has been this to get that information to help,
exactly,
so you can die,
and he didn't die.
But what sucks is she don't really know her value to the rebel cause, though. You know what I'm saying?
She doesn't think she has value. That's not the way she's supposed to think about it.
Her value was already her job was done.
Yeah, she has no value. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. That was the way Luthen raised her.
Which is wild. She was super prepared to be okay, this is it. Cassian, take it. Do it. Make sure your guest there.
I'll hold them off. I got the bomb. We go. Go ahead. I that's what her job is to be.
Yeah.
She was prepared to blow it up.
That part right there. That part touched me because, like I said, she didn't think nobody else would be able to, in her mind, the only person she had ever loved, well, the only other person was Luthen. And now she don't got nobody to love. She's just out there. She don't even think she got friends. I'm just saying, that's so lonely.
Yeah, Vale had to be
she doesn't look to Mon or Val or any of them as friends. They're just
pawns on the chessboard.
Yep, pawns.
Exactly. Pawns on the chessboard.
But in actuality, she should probably have a seat at that table too.
Yeah,
she should.
Given everything that she's done and given.
Absolutely.
She knows the most stuff. Technically, she knows everybody's business. She knows all the senators' business because she was, putting devices in people's stuff. And like she's a great chameleon, and we know she's a great negotiator. She's actually highly qualified to be that other person. Like she's qualified. She's technically qualified to be a good soldier spy because that's what she's been doing, and she's qualified to technically be in politics because that's what she's had to do as well. And she's effective at both of them. So the think that this woman, after all this, thinks in her mind that she has no value at this point. I gave my information. I'm supposed to be out the game, like, life-wise. And
like she could easily work with Mon Mothma and Leia. Easily. So easily. Well, she would slide and fit right in.
Or work with Bail, because Bail was the other who was
That's true.
Cousin,
absolutely.
Soldier.
Absolutely.
Compliment.
Yeah.
And this is because we sort of went through Andor sort of knowing, like, okay, we're getting to Rogue One. If people die along the way, we understand why. Right. Kleya didn't die.
A lot of them didn't.
Well, let's say, like, just specific in that bubble. What's next for her there? We went. I know you gave some examples of her what she could be able to do, but like seriously, like, what's left for her to do that she can find value in as much as what she was doing with Luthen for her and like more than half of her life?
Well, Topical just put a comment in the chat about her trauma. Yeah, this comment right here. Like, Kleya has to learn how to see that she still has value. Like it's a complete reframing of thinking for her. That's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. And there's going to be resistance on her part. So,
and the fact that she have to learn about grief at this age, like she don't know grief. Her parents died so long ago. She don't know it. She don't even remember what that feel like.
She doesn't. Well, no, not only that, they have lost people along the way, and she doesn't allow herself to grieve. She doesn't see it that way. And then she comes to the moment of, doing what Luthen trained her to do with him in the hospital, and then now she's like, "I'm crying, and I can't control this, but I have to do this." So you have that whole piece of it too. So she has to do a lot of rethinking, reframing. She has to heal, and she might be out of the fight for a while.
I was just about to say that she can't do nothing if her mind ain't there. So she can't do no spine. She can't do no communications work.
Well, I just
sell a play a spinoff.
I disagree to a point because I feel like if she has the right guidance, she could step up and do some things, but it has to be the right guidance. Lauren, you were gonna say something.
Well, we say that now, but she'll probably be reactivated when we have the events of Rogue One, since she's still on that base. I don't think she leaves. I think she stays there. And so, like, when that starts happening, and now it's a real war, I think she probably will be reactivated, at that point. Something, because a lot of stuff happens, right? So she'll probably be like reactivated in her mind of like, okay, there's still stuff to do. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Because we still have a spy network, because remember when they finally get to the Death Star situation, Death Star number 2, there's a whole spy network those spies die finding that Death Star number 2 is being built, right? So there's still spy network. So there's still fulcrums out there for those who watch the animation. So there's places for her to be, and it's just like, Bail dies later, we know that, but there's other people there who were running those spies, like Ahsoka and the rest of them. So her skills are still very valuable. She just doesn't see it because her mission was supposed to end at that point. So after all this starts to happen, I think that spy network for her reactivates because there's other information that they're going to need going forward. So I think that's what happens with her. Her and Kleya and Bell will probably be a good team up, because Bell was also a spy soldier kind of thing. And I can't see them not being reactivated into something.
So this is the fate she met. This was sometimes there's fates much worse than death, right? For her, this is probably it.
Like, this is where she's spending the rest of her life.
Thoughts on her complete story arc?
I know what you and I talked about, but I'm just saying, like, that's her mindset.
You've got the floor.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, this is like one of her worst fates, because one of the things there's a piece of her backstory. She says at the dinner, like, how she grew up. She grew up in basically an Imperial camp, essentially, while she grew up. So stuff like this was a broken down version of what she actually lived and grew up in. That's what the Imperial orphanages look like, if you want to call them that. They really weren't that. So now she's back in the place she's probably been trying to escape her whole life in a certain aspect. So this is her fall from grace. But here's the other thing. Now, if you watch some of the other shows, like not Obi-Wan, if you watch The Mandalorian, there's about 1 or 2 episodes where we meet this scientist who used to work for the ISB. And we see what happens to all these former Imperials who were given amnesty, which is basically you're on parole and they watch everything you do. And we see how he gets reactivated. And we see that there were Imperials who were enacting one of the other projects, which will be Thrawn later and some other folks. If she survives up to that point, let's say she's given that amnesty, okay, you get to be re-educated kind of thing. If she lives to that point, that means we could possibly see her somewhere else, actually. And see how that worked out. Like, maybe she doesn't get killed or shuffled in the later years. Maybe she gets her amnesty and gets reactivated and becomes a part of another remnant of something, because we don't know where she is. They may not be on Coruscant by the time that happens. So she could be part of the First Order later on, when it all said and done, or she could be part of what was happening in Mando with the Thrawn stuff that we'll see later. So we could see Dedra again, our favorite Imperial.
So what are those chances are high, you feel, Lori, that there's a chance we might see her out
if
of
she
these
survives.
If she survives, because here's the other thing. When the Empire finally collapses, the first time they finally collapsed, a lot of people got murdered in that time. So if she survived that part, because she knew too much. There's a lot of people who knew too much or were even associated to stuff. And the Emperor's last orders were ships destroyed, people killed, other people moved and shipped out to other places. So when we see Exegol and all that other stuff. And then there was another order where there was a remnant that stayed behind, which would be the remnants that stayed behind, which would be for Thrawn. So there was a few different orders. We don't know if she survives up to that point. Does she get mixed up with this remnant, or does she get mixed up with that if she's activated again?
Yeah, because if she's part of the order, in layman's terms, burn everything to the ground, then she ain't coming back. We just don't know where. We just don't know where she falls within that setup the Emperor did.
Doc, thoughts on Dedra's story arc here?
I hope her ass still floating in space. I don't give a damn about it.
But this is like the one that was over this is like the person that was over the water, though, right?
I don't give.
We don't know where she is, because they have
wherever she is, she can stay there, and I hope she's forgotten, because
different prisons all over the
I can tell you that.
I don't like her. Let me tell you something. She is the one that don't give a damn. She is the one that you don't want next to Vader. She is the one that will say, "Kill everybody. Let's go to the next mother planet." I don't like her. She can stay there.
She's not grieving Cyril at all.
She can stay there.
Well, once again, it's been a year. This is the problem. We got to, in this timeline skipping of what you have to believe in order to make stuff work. That's what a problem is. Like, some of the things can become inconsistent, because it's like, well, she's not grieving Cyril. Well, it's been over a year since that death.
Man,
it's been a year.
Look at her face.
Look at this.
Oh no,
Vix had Iron Man. He got killed. The next thing you know, we see her with Cassian.
I don't know. I mean,
True.
For those of you that know, I've lost a very dear loved one, and it's been 5 years, and I miss that person very much to this day.
And her eyes, like, she had like dark marks under her eyes. She looked like it hasn't been.
That's what
great
evil
year.
fucking life out of you look like. That's why she looked like that.
It was crazy because the actress says when she's playing this part, she has to move very weirdly to sell it, right? As to who this person is. She's like, she said, I have to move in ways that kind of hurt and is unnatural to try to like these facial expressions with the
even like suck. Yeah.
She said, I had to do all that. She said it was weird.
Look at the muscles on the side of her face. Like, she is using her muscles to position her face in such a very unique way.
Yeah.
But let me say this. As much as I don't like that character, Dedra, the actress is awesome.
Oh, she's wonderful.
She sold that mother part. Anybody can make me hate your character. You are selling that part.
Well, not only that, not just to hate her, but when we're first introduced to her in season 1, to where I was like, I'm actually caring for an Imperial character, like the way she was getting talked to in the beginning, and how they kind of did that a little bit in the beginning of season 2. It's like when you see her interact with the mother, it's like, you're making me like her again. Stop it.
Oh yeah,
because you got feelings. That's why.
No. I'm just saying, like the way she puts the mama in the place. I'm like, okay, yes. Why am I happy?
Mother, unfortunately, was right in certain cases. So
no. I understand that, but then, like, just to Doc's point, this actress is phenomenal, because the fact that you can get me to have a moment where I'm like, yes, ma'am. What am I doing? Wait,
I know, right?
I should not be on her side.
Jen, turn off the lights.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't do that. No, please.
I'm helping her not like her again. I'm trying. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
So given how this ended, it tied up everything in a bow. One question before we move, like to sort of like our final apart. This kid at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The baby,
yeah.
Yeah, with all that hair. Go ahead.
Who do we think? Let's speculate. I like to speculate. Like speculation.
Are we doing Maury?
Yeah. We know who the baby daddy is, but I mean, my first thing that came to mind was like, man, Ryan Gosling just signed on for the movie. So I was like, is this baby Gosling?
Well, I thought he was supposed to be playing a different timeline for his movie.
That's what I heard, and I was like, oh crap. So it might not be baby Gosling, but does this story just ends here, you think? Or
that baby got Cassian head. Look at his head. That baby got Cassian hair. He got that very sky. He got that very sky jacket on. Man,
but do we think this story ends here?
With Bix?
Will for Bix and the baby, is there a chance we see him somewhere else, or do you want to see this turn out?
It all depends.
A book if they're going to do that. Like, she gets reactivated, because the only thing would be like, okay, they need her to do something, because there's a lot of wartime that goes by and a lot of stuff that happens.
Because hypothetical, after Rogue One, I can see Vel coming to tell Bix about Cassian.
Yeah,
and that just sets Bix off, and then she wants to get back in and fight. Because we already have a mom, Hera with Jason. She's doing what she's doing for the rebellion with Jason by her side. So I could absolutely see Bix doing that with baby boy or baby girl. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
But with baby, I could see her totally pulling a Hera and raising the kid in the rebellion and taking the baby everywhere as she's going on missions and stuff.
I could agree to an extent, because it's like, because she did participate in a lot of those. She did do missions and do this stuff, and we don't see as much of it except for that one moment, but she does, right? And so, like, after the 7 days go by, Rogue One happens, all this chaos and stuff, then we're going into A New Hope. So, like, people, the Empire is activating on all these places.
All fronts.
How safe is she really going to be?
Right, because we don't know if the Empire, after they leave the first time, because it has been some years with the time jumps. We don't know how active the Empire is still on this planet and what they're doing. We don't know if they've completely left after the shenanigans that happened in the first arc of chapter 1, or if they've remained and intensified to a certain point, because that's sometimes what the Empire does. You know, you retaliate a little bit, they come down harder on the pressure and make it worse than what it was before.
Yeah, so they may not be safe, and I don't think they're going to be safe. I mean, I'm like, okay, you have the baby, or you go take the baby to the planet where they were already at. I don't know if that was smart, you know, because especially with some of the things that happen in other animations, I could see the Empire come back. I could see her needing to leave, because now it actually is Star Wars. Vader's involved and running around and all this other stuff, and all these other Moffs and generals with their own ships, but deployed all over the place, because
the Emperor's becoming more active, like coming out more because of the shenanigans. The Emperor himself is coming out more, making rounds.
Yeah, the Senate is dissolved. There is no Senate. He dissolves the Senate at this point. So I can easily see her either trying. I think Belle comes, because Belle knows where she's at, tells her, hey, this is what went down. And maybe she decides to stay, but then the Empire's coming. Okay, we need to move somewhere else because the baby's young. And maybe later in a couple of years, gets more active.
He or she is a year old. It's only a year.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're right.
Yeah, I can see those things. I can see her, like, if we find out that later on in a book that maybe she was reactivated, you know, she got back in because, you know, they found her on the planet. You know, I can see that happening, or in a nice, let's say in a very nice un-Star Warsy way, Rebels ending that planet is left alone and she can raise baby Cassian till whatever. But that's a very nice. But I don't know, because this is the beginning of the actual war confrontation. I don't know if that's that possible.
Right, because the other thing too, at the end of Bad Batch, Omega goes to join the rebellion. So you got Omega flying around. So it could be something like that, where the baby is raised by Bix, and because we know what happens later on in the stories where we have the First Order, baby boy or baby girl might join the new resistance later down the road and fights like Mom and Pop later on. I mean, it could be a brand new character for all we know.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Well, I will say this. I really enjoyed this season 2, sort of seeing how things sort of come together to get to Rogue One. Doc, overall score, rating the season, 4 parts, 3 episodes apiece, taking up a lot of my Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings.
We all watch a movie, the equivalent of a movie, every week for last year.
Every week.
That's true.
40 minutes a pop. Yeah.
4 movies in a row.
For a 12-hour spy thriller, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Well, I'm out of 10. My apologies. Out of 10.
Oh, I thought we was going out of 5. Out of 10, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Because some of those parts, to Lauren's point, they went a little too long. Hey man, let's get back to it. We don't got time for the suspense. You know, I understand there's tension to be built up in this drama, and it was good. But sometimes I'm like, hey, let's get to it. We got a lot to get to. You know what I'm saying? So I give it 8.5.
Story to cover. There's definitely a lot of story to try to cover. Some slow parts here and there. Jen, overall on the season 2 of Andor.
I give it a 10.
Perfect in your estimation, right?
Not perfect, but definitely a 10.
Wait a minute, Jen. Wait a minute.
Well, out of all the Star Wars live action shows, if we had to rate it, then probably closer to 10.
Yeah, no, like out of all the live action shows, it's definitely a 10.
Probably
definitely a 10.
Best one done.
Yeah.
And Lauren, go ahead, Jen. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. No, it's definitely a 10. I mean, and Lauren knows this. Ever since season 1 of Andor, I kid you not, with the rooms that we do with our fan club that we have, Andor will, like, the show Andor always comes up. We're always bringing up Andor, talking about the structure of the show, the characters, the template of, you know, the 3-episode arcing, you know, it's always brought up. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm giving it a 10.
And Lauren, what you got?
Mine was about an 8.5. I think I think the issue the show tends to suffer from is holding tension points a bit too long on bits, or having certain exposition just go a little bit too long. And part of that is that we know we can't go this far because it has to fit into Rogue One perfectly. Within that, so I think, you know, part of it is a story structure issue, and then the year skipping and like, okay, we still have to connect this point to this point, but it's like without these details in the middle, you really have to believe stuff in order to carry it out. And sometimes they do it better than other points in the story. So I'd give it, so it's an overall much better. I like the season much better than season 1. I give it a solid like 8.5. They had some really good scenes that I will watch again. I love that we got Krennic back, and Krennic and you know, homegirl in that room with some great ass acting on it. So I really did enjoy, you know, those bits. So yeah, solid 8.5. The other stuff is more like, you know, where they were in the story, tension, you know, because I think we should have got that damn at least half of an Imperial episode. Like if the second episode would have been like, okay, all the chaos, because that would have been enjoyable.
That's what you and I talked about, Lauren, that if they did the second episode completely Imperial and what they were doing to handle the chaos, that would have been really good.
Yeah, before this, I was giving it
fun to actually see.
Yeah, before this, I was giving it a 10 until Lauren did say that, and I was like, oh, that would have been that much better. To do that. So I'm a little around like an 8 or so as well. Again, there's some slow parts for me. I mean, Doc and I do like action here and there, but there are some slow parts, and I feel like that's to fill the story or to build up that story within that box to get to Rogue One. So I understood that. But man, I say, okay, off top of your head, favorite part, Lauren, 1, 2, 3, or the finale?
Oh, of which episode?
No, just like
which chapter?
So
which
chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, or 4. Which one would you go back and rewatch right now?
Mon Mothma extraction, the Senate scene, I think was excellently. It was well done. All the points in there was in there. And I got a little trivia for you, because there was a couple of scenes that got cut, but they were a part of that particular moment. And there is a scene where Mon Mothma goes back home. She's trying to talk to her daughter, let her know what she's about to do the next day with the Senate speech. When she goes there, her daughter's not there. It's just Perrin. So Perrin knew. She tells him before she has a speech. That scene was filmed, and they had to cut it. They didn't have enough time. The second thing that happens, because we see Perrin at the very last shot,
drinking, sipping on his sipping on his yak.
Did you not notice who he was with?
Who he was with? And this is the second point that okay, so
Takako put it in the timestamp in the chat. Did you not notice who he was with?
Who was that?
It's the mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law.
He shacked up with the mother-in-law.
Hold on, I missed that too. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, she was the one that was with him.
That's Golden's wife. That's Golden's wife.
That's Stalin's wife.
In the limo, drinking his yak with his with his other.
Yes. So this is why this part, which did get filmed. So originally, Tony was like, okay, the Skolden, whenever we get that Krennic scene in the beginning, and what's the name was trying to get the device out, and Krennic comes in, and him and Moff are going back and forth. So Skolden is there. Skolden loves that Mon Mothma is talking about the Emperor, talking about Palpatine. Palpatine instituted some stuff that kind of screwed Skolden's stuff up. So anybody who says bad, he's not really happy about Palpatine either at all.
Right.
So what he was going to do is Skolden actually owns one of the news stations that broadcast from the Senate. Now, in the original version he wrote, what he was going to do is that him and Moff got together in terms of, look, I'm going to give a speech, just keep it. I need it to be broadcasted. So what was going to happen is homeboy calling, yo, shut it down. It was supposed to be Skolden say, no, thank you, and hangs up on him.
Yep.
And let the speech be broadcast. But of course, continuity-wise, they took that out. But the Senate side was shut down, but the other public viewing side, which Skolden owns, was not. So the Senate stopped viewing, but the others parts of the speech were viewed because he did shut his off. So Homeboy's not, he's there, but not
there.
Yeah. So to speak.
It's like the Emperor. You don't see him, but you know he's lurking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's lurking around. So at the end, what you got is two individuals who have two spouses who decide to do something kind of against the Empire, kind of ruin their life, so to speak, because they just want to drink and be rich and be married, and they kind of get to, But Mon and her husband do get back together after the war, though. That actually does happen. So.
Oh, really? So he drops the other the mother-in-law,
the old lady.
She wouldn't.
Yeah, well, they Shadrillan culture. Like he's the consort.
Mm-hmm.
He's the consort. So they do get back together because it's like, you're rich. You can have. He thought she was having an affair with somebody.
Yeah, he thought he thought she was having an affair with old boy.
Yeah, which wasn't happening. She was faithful the whole time.
She was faithful the whole time. So it's like, it's not. And her and Perrin already talked. They already had that conversation. And it was filmed, and they just couldn't have enough room to put it in the scene.
Interesting.
In those episodes, but they actually did film that.
Man, so Jen, part 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one are you going back to rewatch?
I think for me, I'm gonna definitely copy Lauren. Watch the last episode of chapter 3, but then go right into chapter 4, and then right into Rogue One.
Yeah, that's the way to. That's really
start it right there and go.
Rogue One. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yep, just roll it.
Doc, I think I know your answer because it might be similar to mine.
Oh, if
you're going back to rewatch any part, part 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Part 2.
Part 2?
Yeah. That's the one where my girl blew the building up.
Yeah.
That was a nice scene too.
This was pointed out in a comment, and I had to go back and look at it. Like Gorst walked in with like this space cupcake.
Yep,
or whatever he had. I was like,
little fairy.
Hey, it was cheat day, baby. He about to get his cupcake on. He thought he was.
He's like, surprise!
Man, he worked hard.
He didn't even get to have his cupcake.
That was the last cupcake he was ever going to see.
He was treating himself, man. He was like, oh, it's not going to kill me.
Boom!
That was good. I'm going to go back to the Gorman Massacre episode. I think that one.
Was like when Varian Sky was introduced. Is that the one?
No, not Varian Sky. That was part 1.
That was
part 2.
What
2.
11 were you talking about?
No, part 11 is 4 parts, man.
Well, I'm talking about chapter 11, I guess.
But I'm going with that one just because I can't unsee or unhear the Cyril line, the "Who are you?" And then come to realization that he didn't matter in any of this whatsoever.
It doesn't matter.
You want to talk about you don't matter. You don't matter. And then a blaster to the head and you're done. No redemption, no nothing. And then just to see the escalation that they made, within Gorman because of that, I thought that was like a very impactful episode, at least for me, at least. Maybe because I was like, Cyril could come around, man.
He betrayed other Gormans, even though you maybe sound sympathy. I think he didn't realize, he didn't know it was going to go that far. He figured, okay, we'll finally catch him on something, so then we'll arrest him, and then whatever happens. But when that doesn't happen, it's like, what are we really doing? What's this really about?
Mm-hmm.
It's like what we talked about with Luthen, it's like which happens to what Lauren said at the top of the show. This happens a lot with certain Imperials. There is a line that is crossed where people are like, wait, this is not what we were supposed to be doing. Why are we doing this? So there is a line.
Yeah, but that's I think that was the part where for me, like full on episode, like the series just switched up for me because it didn't feel like this is the one thing that it's like I said it before. It's like the most grounded like Star Wars property I've ever watched or anything like that. Like again, we talked about the people getting thrown and dying. Like that was like legit. And again, we had like the assault in the first chapter, right? Or the attempted. So we had that, and I mean, like it didn't feel like Star Wars a lot of times to me, which I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but like it was heavy in comparison to everything else because we just finished Skeleton Crew, which was the lightest thing that we've probably seen from Star Wars in a very long time.
That's fun Star Wars. That's
so fun Star Wars.
Fun
Star Wars, and then we get over here. Yeah, we get over here and drawers are throwing people 40 yards down the field for a drop pass, man.
I've said this.
Cats.
Yeah. I've said this before. I mean, this really, especially like for fans that are not like Lauren and I, where we just nerd out. We read the books, reread the comics. Like Lauren and I were up to like 1 a.m. talking about it.
I know. It's like I cannot sleep.
It's like I have 2 shot glasses in my hands, the right one in the right, the left one in the left, and I want people to get thrown in the head with these shot glasses. I was so upset.
Upset. I was like,
I was upset. Just the way everything ended, I was like, Dedra, yes. The husband, oh my gosh, he's with the mother-in-law? Dang.
Yeah.
And then this other character, Cassian going off, and then Bix with the baby. What? I was not ready.
Listen,
but anyway.
You should have knew something when Bale was like, you need to go call her. No, you need to go call her. No,
like seriously, you need to call her right now.
Man.
Call her right now. But oh man, what was my original point? For me, and I've said this before, I really enjoy Andor because there's fans out there who will, I'm gonna say it, never do their homework, or don't understand. Well, you're just telling me that the Empire's bad and that these people that are not the Empire are good. It's like, here's why the Empire is bad.
Yeah,
Andor.
All of this, like you're not
all of this, and then some.
That how you reconsidering that red kyber crystal you got?
No,
you should. People died for that.
He's not.
People died for yours too, sir.
Speaking of the red kyber crystal, Doc, did you watch Star Wars Visions?
I did not.
Okay? I will recommend season 1, episode 1. Just watch that one.
Gotcha.
Is he gonna be heartbroken, Jen? Tell me.
Oh, he's gonna love it. He's gonna freaking love it.
Yeah. Did you really ask that question?
I don't know, man. I like rainy days for you. But anyway,
so dark, right? Because he don't like my crystal, you know.
Listen, a lot of people died from them damn kyber crystals. This Andor, the undercover thing from Andor is all about. This is all about people digging up for some kyber crystals.
Yep.
There's like,
literally, that's what it's about.
Luthen had one of the rarest kyber crystals we've seen in Star Wars. That thing is so rare.
Yeah.
We'll ask this last question and then we'll head on out. And it sort of brings it all back together. I think I asked this at the end of Skeleton Crew, because obviously with Acolyte being canceled, possibly coming back, we don't know. But how as fans, just for Lauren and Jen, how do you all feel about the Star Wars property as a whole, like right now? Like right after this, we get Andor, we get the lead in. Promising, because I enjoyed Skeleton Crew. I enjoyed this. And people have said that it's on the sort of downside of things. How do you feel about the property of Star Wars at this moment in time?
You can go first, Lauren.
Why I gotta go first?
I'm just saying. I talk a lot. You know how I am.
Come on, Lauren, what you got?
Going forward, they have issues of what they need to do to go forward, and that's a big issue. And I'm just talking about timelines and like what's the Rey story going to be about type of thing. And it's we keep staying in certain timelines because they don't know where they want to go, and they're afraid of going to a place, but then they didn't execute certain things properly in the first place. So it's like the thing, because the demographic is changing. Star Wars has been around almost 50 years.
Greatly.
Right? And so we have people who are aging into Star Wars, and so they're going to have their entry points into Star Wars, right? We talk about, me, Jen, and the group talk about that a lot. So like the stuff where there's more female characters or more Black characters or whatever, and they're prominent and in shows, well, guess what? That's what the demographics look like right now in the US, like what people look like. So
look at all the Latinos in Star Wars. We're getting more of them.
Yeah, so like stuff like that is, people have those issues like, oh, I'm not seeing a white guy be the hero anymore, and that, and that kind of narrative. And okay, but there's a lot of people who haven't seen themselves as the hero ever, and this is like the first time in like 40 something years where they get to see themselves for one freaking show or one movie as a potential hero, and it's only for like one moment. So like this, the franchise has to move forward if they want it to move forward. But like in terms of the quality of content, like the type of stories we're going to tell, like we don't need another Maul story, and we're getting another Maul story, and I don't think we really need that. As much as people love them, we don't need another Maul story. But going forward in terms of, because I read a lot of books and comics, so I know all the crazy stuff that happens. I'm like, damn, we need Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, we need Dr.
Aphra. So there's like deep cuts that you all know that will like, oh, this would be great to see translated onto TV or screen.
Wild, but Dr. Aphra is a lesbian. So if we put her where, and she's, what kind of backlash is she going to get, even though she has amazing stories with Vader and all kinds of people that we meet in other parts of the galaxy, and finding she has Avengers with Luke Skywalker and going into old Jedi and Sith temples and prisons and all that stuff that people say they want to see. That's one of the characters who discovers it, because she's an archaeologist. So I don't know what you want to do. What you want to do if you don't want those stories, because they exist.
Yeah.
But do you want them in live action? Do you want it this? Okay, now we have it, but the character is this. So now it's going to be a problem. I mean, in Star Wars, they've literally erased Black characters that were in books. They've released other LGBT characters that were in books in Ahsoka. For those who read the original Ahsoka book, like they erased characters clean out.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
Move forward, even this is what it is.
And Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong. When they put out Tales of the Jedi, they changed the book a little bit in there too, right?
They completely changed things. Like they took away there's pivotal things that happened to Ahsoka, and they just completely erased that. And I think the concept of a child soldier. What happens when you have a little girl who's 14 years old, who's been in war all of her life? She's probably, as an adult, there's going to be things not quite right, and part of that book tells the story of when Order 66 happens, and all these people that she used to know and love and trust are trying to murder her, and all these Jedi, because she's connected to all the Jedi, right?
Literally,
she feels when they die. So when she can't feel Anakin, she can't feel Anakin and doesn't understand why, so she figures he's dead. But all those other Jedi, Plo Koon, she feels it because she's that connected to the Force. So she's like, it's like lights going off all around me, and I'm surrounded in darkness.
So for example, in episode 4, A New Hope, when Obi-Wan is with Luke and he sits down all of a sudden, and he can feel in the Force the planet being destroyed and the people dying. When you're really connected strongly to the Force, you feel that very greatly. And a lot of Jedi who have strong connections can feel that. So like whenever you see, like in the books, when a Padawan loses the master, they instantly feel it. Instantly. And it's very heavy, and they all describe it very differently. So when you are very strong in the Force and you have that connection with different life forms and how the Force works within life, it's a heavy feeling when you feel that.
Yeah, and they go through her depression of going through that, and like her PTSD. I mean, we see a tiny bit of it in the Ahsoka series, but in the book, it was very detailed in describing all those things that were happening to her at that time. Her going undercover, her finding another Force-sensitive child and trying to protect that child, because people were just turning babies in. They were turning babies in to be murdered, they thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's like the stuff that they detail in books, like they get pretty heavy. So to get back to your question, for my part, if they like, there's other things that have happened too. And we've talked about this in our rooms. You know, you have Bob 1 and Bob 2, and then their differences and their different viewpoints, where one's like Disney Plus, get it out. No, the other one's like, no, quality. We need space. We need.
They've actually said that for this. At least Marvel, they said it.
Yep.
We have to put it back in the theater. You know, you also have that dynamic with the different viewpoints of the two different leaderships and how they think it should be handled. There's also that predicament. And then the strikes didn't help at all.
No.
So the fact that Ahsoka survived and that Hayden and Rosario were able to do some type of press tour when the strikes were over, you know, that to me, that's a positive. I think if they keep taking bold strokes, like with what they did with Andor, where appropriate with certain storytelling, like Dr. Aphra, I think if they do if they were to take the template of Andor and apply that to Dr. Aphra, that would be a very, very successful TV series or movie. Because you could get a lot of story out of Dr. Aphra, to what Lauren said, you know, she has so many connection points to what Lauren said. That's a lot of good Star Wars content.
Dr. Aphra.
A lot of people want Vader to come back. Hayden wants to come back to do more Vader. That's another avenue where we could get more Vader, is Dr. Aphra stories. And I know Hayden has mentioned, you know, wanting to do a Vader series. You know, I would love a Vader series. There's a lot of story of Vader
comics. Charles Soule.
Oh yeah, that we haven't even touched. We haven't.
So there's more to him than what we've.
Oh yeah, and
Mustafar. That's what Vader's Fortress. The whole. I just read it last week. I was telling Jen, you got to read this. You got to get this.
I have to read that book. I need to.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like I really want to see that.
And this, and another thing to what Lauren said too, because this is why some fans are mad. Like, and we saw this with the Ahsoka book. They cherry pick what they want to put in the live action, or or what I call the Star Wars cinematic universe. They cherry pick what they want to put in the books, and then they just undo stuff that's been put in the books. So that's the other thing with it, where it's one of those things you have to accept with what I call the cinematic universe. We're not going to get exactly verbatim what we get in the books. There's going to be changes. Some changes are like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Fine. Great.
It works, yeah.
And other times it's like, no. You should not have done that.
Ahsoka was one of those instances where they found out that, oh shit, they fucked up, because no one was really
a lot happy. Of fans.
Even the crowd that's like the Fandom Menace was like, who read the book, were not happy with the changes that happened from the Ahsoka book.
Like that
erased a bunch of people.
It was one of the rare universal outcries of the fandom where we all were like, yeah, no, we're all in agreement on this one. Gotcha. You all should not have done that. Yeah.
But so I'm picking up like an optimism from it too. Like, hey, just find a pocket. If they're creating new Star Wars properties, find a pocket, but what y'all want them to sort of move away from what we've known and start something different, because we do have Ryan Gosling coming in to do something.
I'm all for new stories and new projects. I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, as a fan, I get more Star Wars, so I'm happy with it. What I would say though is, because Lauren and I we talk about this all the time in our own chat, because of the the writers' rooms and what they have planned out, not all the writers get all of the information of what they have planned out for over the years. So that's where some of the issues with writing come up, is because they're not given all the information, because one, they don't want leaks, which is understandable. But then for the overall goal of the projects you're currently working on, that's where it gets difficult, to where you should give some info so we can track. Because if they follow the template of Andor and how they were like, no, it has to fit into Rogue One, it worked. It freaking worked.
Mm-hmm.
Use the template and run with it. This is a good template. Use this template.
Because they had all the information. Like, you had enough backstory and stuff that you can reference that was already done, versus like kind of what happened with the Acolyte, where there's characters and stuff where they, because I've watched the Leslie thing where she said, hey, I wanted to do this. They told me I can't do that. I only knew to this because only this book was written, and the other books, they didn't give us the information. So I don't know. We kind of knew this one, like, there was a lot of that.
And Leslie is one of the few writers that we've had in a long time where she knows Star Wars. She knows Legends. She knows High Republic of what they gave her. She knows fan fiction. She knows the movie lore. Like, she knows everything about Star Wars. Everything.
Yeah, she's a geek when it comes to
Star
Wars. She put High Republic game references, was like one of the most beloved games. She gave us Plagueis, and she fought for that because they didn't want to do certain things.
See, this I gotta get in the book, man. Like, we gotta. Jen gives us recommendations all the time. We know this.
And then what I'm blanking out, Lauren, with the Mad Claw, right?
Yeah, Mad Claw. Yeah.
Yeah, she threw in Mad Claw, which is part of the from the culture that Chewbacca comes from.
Yeah, because Mad Claw was mentioned heavily in the EU when it comes to Chewbacca's people, and she threw that in.
She threw that in. That's some deep lore.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what comes next from Star Wars. Again, I would love to have something else like Skeleton.
Answer your question.
You did. Yeah, you did. It feels like there's a lot of optimism. Like, hey, pull from the books. The sources are out there, and then sort of dive into what worked with Andor too. You know, because I feel like we've gotten 2 really good series lately from Star Wars, which is I've enjoyed.
Rebuild the World, fun one that's coming.
What's that again, Laura?
Rebuild the Galaxy Part 2.
Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so excited.
Fun, very lighthearted Lego version. But movie wise, we got Mandalorian, Baby Grogu thing, whatever the hell that's going to be.
That's next year.
That's the first theater test. We'll see how well that goes.
We got Star Wars Visions season 3 coming.
Yeah,
we got that coming.
Some project in the High Republic, don't know which one. I think that's still going forward. We got the other one, which is about the pilots from what era? I don't know if they're talking about, war era pilots from like before the New Republic, or whether these are after stuff happens. Because one of those projects is supposed to be about one of the squadrons, and I have no idea which one it is.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be here to. I mean, we'll love to have y'all back when we do those 2. Because I've enjoyed this, because Surface, I'll speak for myself, but not for Doc. But with just Surface, like, I like Star Wars. I like the stuff I've seen. I've enjoyed the things I've seen. I haven't dove into the books or like the deep cuts of everything. But you all have filled in those blanks for me, and you make me want to go out there and read the rest of the books, especially since all the stuff with Bail that Lauren told me last week.
Oh yeah, Bail, the OG, like, never got caught.
Knows everything. I told Emily this, and she was like, "Wait, he has been around." Like, yeah, he knows everything.
Even how he got to Yavin, he does not fly straight to Yavin, to Coruscant, or to Alderaan. He hops his way through, and he hops his way through on smugglers and pirate crews, because they all know him and respect him. Like, I know Bell's a great guy. Yeah, we'll go.
That man has so many connections that will never burn him.
Let's get Jimmy Smits. Let's write let's write a Bail Organa TV show. I want to see all that. Like, I want to see him maneuvering within these galaxies.
That's another great show that we can get. That's so easy to do because there's so much content with just Bail.
You know,
I would love to see that.
And then if like Vivian's getting
man in the galaxy.
Vivian's getting older.
You know what we need? We need Bell at the fall of the Republic, and Palpatine comes to power when Vader and the Inquisitors are still housed on Coruscant. And remember, Bale's there and he has baby Leia.
Freaking yes.
He's there in the Senate when Inquisitors are showing up and they're just doing all kinds of executing people still on Coruscant, executing Jedi that didn't escape Coruscant at that point. And he's there because he's helped smuggling people out as well.
So we'll answer this one and then head on out. But it was the only question: Smits
or
Brats? Who we picking for?
You ain't gonna have me murdered out in these streets here with the Star Wars. Takako, you will not have it.
Fuck, man, that's throwing some arms.
That did great though. I know
he ready for us to go get in trouble out here.
You know what? I mean, I'm happy with either actor. I mean, the only reason why we got Brat was because of scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
Because if Jimmy would have been available, he would have come back. I mean,
of course,
he would have been here, but it had not been the scheduling. So, I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy with either one. I mean, I will always hope that, let's hope scheduling works out and that Smits can come back. But then if it can't for some reason, we got Mr. Brat, and he did really well.
He did.
No complaints.
These people are old. Like, he's been around for a long time playing this damn role.
Right. So like,
how long he got now?
Like 20 years.
Going on the thought of, hey, let's have a Bail Organa show. We might want to get Brat for that one.
Nah,
man. Because folks is in wheelchairs and stuff. Like we wearing out poor Mr. Williams. Damn.
Yeah, we are.
Well, this was fun. This was really fun. Thanks for doing, Lauren. Thanks for coming back this week too. Jen for always being here for us, and Doc showing up. How about that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
But Lauren, let people know where they can find you and support you.
Hey, I'm the Nerdy Entrepreneur here on YouTube, so you can follow me on my YouTube channel or Knights of G on Twitch as well as Instagram and TikTok.
And Jen, let people know where they can find you too.
You can find me at Nerdiqua on Instagram and TikTok, and also at Rocking the Bald Pod. That is my podcast on Instagram. I'm also on Blue Sky at Nerdiqua. I'm not too active on there. I'm trying. I'm trying.
I think everybody's trying.
I got a profile on there. I've been there months.
I'm trying.
Yeah, everybody's trying.
But yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm on TikTok at Nerdiqua for as long as we have it.
And Doc, go ahead and close us out as we finish up our review of Andor Season 2.
Well, people, y'all know how it is. This has been All-Star Fandom Show once again, coming to you on another Wednesday with Andor Season 2. It was really good because y'all know I really don't like slow stuff like this. I want action 24/7 all the time. But getting up out this thing, it's me, Doc. That's Dion. Lauren at the bottom. Jen over there. We out this thing.
Bye.
See ya.